In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about why owning just zero point 0.1 Bitcoin will be life-changing. It will build your freedom fund. It will get you financial freedom for the rest of your life and put you in the millionaire class, while everyone who doesn't own Bitcoin will be poor for the rest of their life. And let me just jump into this video. If you're not familiar with Bitcoin, one of the biggest problems that Bitcoin solves, as shown in this chart, is that the current financial system, you can print infinite amount of dollars. Dollars can be printed out of thin air, so the amount of dollars circulating will always be increasing. As you can see, today's is 2.3 trillion, right? But the thing is, with Bitcoin, there will always be a fixed supply. So after a certain amount of time, there'll only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence circulating. And that's not considering Bitcoin that have been lost, Bitcoin that have been lost, Bitcoin that will never be moved, and Bitcoin that people will never give up. And the reason why 21 million is so important is because if there will never be more Bitcoin created, the only thing that will be able to increase is the price. And the price that people are willing to give up their Bitcoin for will always increase. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin that will be made, but there's roughly around 8 billion people in this world. And as we get more and more, people keep on having babies and kids, there'll be more people being made. As you can see, if every single person wanted one Bitcoin, it would be impossible because there's 8 billion people, but there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will be ever able to make. And let's say we gave every single person in the world a percentage of Bitcoin. They would only ever be able to own 0.27 Bitcoin, right? Because that's 21 million divided by 8 billion. And the thing is, some people will just never have Bitcoin, right? So if you're one of the people who can even get to 0.1 Bitcoin, you'll be very rare in the economic future, right? Another thing is that Robert Kiyosaki, he was one of the creators who made the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that taught about passive income to a majority of American, well, not majority, but a large part of American. And most people who want to start increasing their finance learn about this concept of passive income. And so he even says that even 0.01 Bitcoin in the next 2 years, it could be priceless. And Rajat says there isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone on earth to even have 0.01 Bitcoin. And what I'm attempting to get at is that Bitcoin, the price right now, is getting higher and higher. It's going to be a point where fiat is going to be printed out of nowhere, and people are not going to be willing to give up a single Bitcoin, a single Satoshi, a single 0.01 Bitcoin. And it might be 1,000, it might be 1,000,000, right? Being a person who owns something that's a scarce supply, you're going to be a hot commodity. You're going to have something that even billionaires, millionaires will be striving to have that you can't even have. And I'm going to explain why in the rest of this video. But if you like this so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Here's Michael Saylor. His base case for where he thinks Bitcoin is going to be, which is a starting point, is 2024, he believes is the bear case, which is like the worst scenario ever, is going to be 3 million. His base case is 13 million, and his bull case is almost 49 million. And I'm not even going to talk about the bull case. By the time we get to a Bitcoin that's 49 million, most likely you will never be able to get 0.1 Bitcoin ever again. It's going to be out of the reach. Okay? And Michael Saylor, one of the reasons why I use this example, this foreshadow, is because Michael is currently taking on tons of debt against his company to buy a large amount of Bitcoin. Currently, right now, I think he has anywhere between 700,000 and 600,000 Bitcoin. And he's going to get to 1 million eventually, right? That is almost 700,000 Bitcoin that the regular market, will never be able to have. And it's going to be gone and locked away forever. Based off his cases, right? How much is 0.1 Bitcoin going to be? So off the bear case, so let's say in 2045, it gets to 3 million. 0.1 Bitcoin will be worth 300K. 300K. Imagine 0.1 Bitcoin today is roughly around $10,000. And you just hold it for a few years and it's 300K. That is passive income. That is money that you didn't have to do anything for, that's just always constant increasing. Imagine that. How long would it take you? What kind of skills would you need to even get a 300K job today? I could talk to you about that in the future, but even get that amount today is going to be very hard. And let's say his base case, what you think is likely going to happen, 13 million. So how much would 0.1 Bitcoin be? It would be $1.3 million at that point. And that's work. That is priceless. And Bitcoin will always keep on increasing. For someone to buy your 0.1 Bitcoin, it's going to cost them 1.3 million. Most people will never, ever, ever be able to buy that. In his bull case, 49 million, 0.1 Bitcoin will be $4.9 million. And most likely, most people will never be able to get 0.1 Bitcoin, and you're going to be the ultra rich. You're going to be like the guys who bought real estate back in the day, and now they're selling in New York, Miami for 100 million. One of the biggest things to always look at is the ability to buy a house. Okay? So most people have the American dream where they come to America and they want to buy a house, but it's becoming more and more and more unaffordable every single day. Back in the day when my parents bought a house, they bought their 4 or 5 bedroom house for almost $50K in the 90s. Now, to get a 4-bedroom house, roughly in 2024, 2025 is going to cost you anywhere between $400,000 and $500,000. And right now, that might cost you about 4-ish Bitcoin. But in the future, in 2028, potentially it could cost you 0.4 Bitcoin. So as long as you hold Bitcoin, it's going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And let's stick to Michael Saylor's cases, right? Based off his bear case, in 2045, it will only cost you 0.27 Bitcoin to buy the medium house. In a few years, it will only cost you half a Bitcoin. In 2030, half a Bitcoin to buy a medium house. And that's his bear case. So let's say we went to his base case. In 2030, it will only cost you 0.1 Bitcoin to buy a house. In 2045, it'll cost you 0.06 Bitcoin to buy a house. That's roughly anywhere between $600, $700 right now. But in 2045, let's say you're able to buy a house with that $300-$400 you save now, because in the future it's going to be worth way more. It's going to be worth the equivalent of a house. So what I'm getting at is that if you keep on investing in Bitcoin and holding your money in Bitcoin, you always have more purchasing power in the future, and everything's going to get cheaper. Why? Because Bitcoin has the fixed limited supply, and people have never seen true scarcity in this world. People don't know what it will be like when they actually can't have nothing. When the mega rich millionaires want your Bitcoin and they can't get it, they're going to throw whatever amount of dollars they can to get it. They'll sell their real estate. They'll sell their gold. They'll sell their yachts just to get the Bitcoin. And all you have to do is put your Bitcoin in cold storage, meaning take it off the internet, lock in a hardware device where only you have the keys, and take self-sovereignty of it. And one of the good things about Bitcoin, you can take it wherever you want around the world. Let's say the West does crash. You can take your Bitcoin and leave to a country that is more favorable towards Bitcoin. But if you guys like this kind of content, put in the comments what you guys think, and check out this video right here.